welcome to CIS 603 Project Management course. My name is Dr. Vlad Krotov and I will be your instructor for this course. Now, before I say anything else, I would like to emphasize the following. This video is not meant to be a replacement for the course syllabus. You still need to read the syllabus for this course, and by that I'm talking about every section, every line of the syllabus, because as you probably well know at this stage of your academic career, a syllabus is a very important document that outlines all the requirements, all the rules and policies in relation to the course. So please don't skip on the syllabus, you still have to read it. Second, I would like to talk a little bit about the content of this course. This course, as you know from the course title, is devoted to project management. Most of this course, I would say 80% of this course content, is devoted to the so-called traditional waterfall approach to project management. This traditional waterfall approach to project management is outlined by the Project Management Institute's Project Management Book of Knowledge. So this course is fairly aligned with the project management certifications offered by the Project Management Institute. However, this course is not just about the traditional waterfall approach to project management. In the first half of the course, we will also look at Scrum. Scrum is a project management methodology that is a part of the so-called agile thinking in relation to project management. It's a different worldview in relation to how projects should be carried out. And also towards the end of this course, in the second half of the course, we will also look at some of the emerging data science and data mining project management methodologies that are used in relation to data science projects. So this course will give you a very broad overview of the art and science of project management. So that's a very brief summary as to the content of this course. Next, we will talk about how this course is laid out in Canvas, our learning management system. If you're watching this video, it means that this course has already been published in Canvas. So when you go to our course Canvas page, this is what you see at the very top. At the very top, you see the announcement section. So this is where I will post important announcements approximately twice a week. So what I usually do, I post an announcement at the beginning of each week, usually by Monday. And in this announcement, I'll tell you the agenda for the entire week. What are the modules, what are the deliverables that you need to complete for that particular week? So this is something that helps you to keep up with everything that is happening in this course. Also, once in a while, I will post an announcement related to some important deliverable or deadline. Let's say I will announce that your midterm exam is coming up in a week or in a few days. I promise not to send you too much spam. I know that students nowadays ignore emails, ignore announcements. I'm pretty much the same way. I get so many emails. I've noticed that I don't read most of them. So let's have the following deal. I promise you that I will not overload you with spam in relation to this course. If I post something, it's important. And you promise me that you will read my announcements, you'll read the emails that are coming from this course, okay? Sometimes I may send individual emails to students if I haven't seen them interacting with the Canvas page for a while, to make sure they're doing all right, to make sure they don't need any kind of help, to make sure they're not stuck somewhere. So please do not ignore my announcements and please do not ignore my emails. So this is where we have announcements, and then at the second section that you see is a module. I call this sections in Canvas modules. So this is a module devoted to general course questions. So if you have a question that doesn't seem to be related to any of these modules, a general course question, then please feel free to post your question here. Also, if you're a student, feel free to respond to those questions, because sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I don't see an announcement. I'm still trying to figure out the correct technology for making sure that I don't miss any posts that students make to Canvas, but sometimes I miss them. So if you think you have the answer, then feel free to respond to the questions of your peers. In fact, I would really appreciate that. Now, of course, if you want to ask something or communicate about something that you don't want others to see, maybe it's something personal or health related, then feel free to send me an email. My email is included in the syllabus, which is also posted to Canvas. If you post something in this general course question section and you don't see me responding within a day or two, that means there's a big chance that I somehow skipped your question. Then you can send me an email saying, look, I have this question, I posted it to Canvas, to our general discussion thread, can you please respond to it? So I'll appreciate that if you remind me. So once in a while I may skip a question posted to Canvas. So post all general questions here. Now, if it's something related to a module, then every module has, with the exception of the first module, which is Introduction to the Course, every module has a discussion thread pinned at the top. So this is where you can ask questions in relation to this specific module. So for example, here we have a module devoted to your individual project, which is your project management plan. So if you have any questions about your individual project, then please post them here. Now, the reason I'm asking you to post questions in Canvas as opposed to sending me an email is that I want everybody to benefit from our communication, because if you have a question, there's a big chance that somebody else has the same question or similar question. So when I respond to those questions, I want everybody to see, so that everybody gets this additional information that might be needed. Maybe there's something that is something that I have overlooked. Maybe there is some kind of error or ambiguity. So I think everybody will benefit from our communication. Also, if you see any errors, I work hard on improving the quality of each course that I publish in Canvas. But again, I'm a human, I make mistakes. So if you see an error, if a file is missing, if, for example, a question on a particular question on a quiz is wrong, then feel free to bring it up to my attention. You can post it somewhere here, okay? So this is how we will communicate in this course. Now, the overall organization of our course is very linear. This means that you start at the very top, and then you proceed all the way to the bottom until you reach the final exam right here. So that's the last item. And also before that very last item, I will ask you to fill in your course evaluations. I haven't enabled that link yet because I don't have my course evaluations link. So this is how it goes. You start at the very top, and then you proceed one item at a time. In fact, within each module, I have those headers that kind of tell you that this is step one, you need to do this first, this has to be done second, this has to be done third, and so forth. And most modules, they have that consistent linear format. Of course, in this introduction video, I will not go through all of the modules. What I will do, I will just go through a couple of the modules posted at the top, the things that you need to do first. And then hopefully, once I do it, the overall format and layout of the course will be kind of self-explanatory. So let's start with the first module, something that you have to complete during the first week. In fact, during the first few days of the summer session that officially starts on May 26th. So again, you start at the top, you watch this introduction video. Since you're watching this video, it means you're already watching it. So you're already completing step one. After you complete this introduction video, which is meant to give you an overview of how our course is structured in Canvas, you still need to read the syllabus. So that's the third reminder. Please read the syllabus once again. Let me know if you have any questions about the content of the syllabus. Post your questions, those general questions here. Let me know if something doesn't make sense. There's still time to amend or update the syllabus if you feel that something is missing or inconsistent. After you read the syllabus, read my bio, like what I do in terms of teaching, research, what is my background. There won't be any questions about my bio during exam. Like I won't ask you in which year did Dr. Vlad Krotov graduate from the University of Houston. I will not ask you something like that, but please remember my name. So as long as you can remember my name, which is Vlad Krotov, you should be able to proceed through this course. You don't need to remember anything else about me, okay? Also, I suggest you visit our YouTube channel. So we have a playlist. Click on that link. You will have to click a second link to open that YouTube playlist in a separate browser window. So all of the video lectures, including this intro video, is already posted to YouTube. So if you prefer to study from YouTube, and I know a lot of people nowadays, that's how they learn, that's how they receive their information, not from books, not from textbooks, but from YouTube. We have our channel where all video lectures, all chapter lectures are included. Okay, so take a look to explore this video channel. Maybe subscribe to it. I don't think I will be making any updates to our playlist. Maybe I'll add a couple of videos. I'm not sure yet, but most likely there will be no updates. Everything is already there. Also, if you're not familiar with the Respondus lockdown browser software, read this tutorial. It's a 1 or 2 pager that kind of tells you what the software is all about. So if you've been studying at MSU for some time, you probably know what it is. You've used it before. To make it very short, it's an anti-cheating, or slash, maybe I should use a more positive terminology for that. It's not anti-cheating, it's more like proctoring, exam administration software. So I will ask you to take all exams, midterm exam and final exam, and the first quiz in this module, just for you to practice using this technology, using lockdown browser functionality. So what it is, it's a browser, and when you launch this browser, you will be able to open an exam. This exam will not be accessible through a normal browser like Chrome. You have to use that lockdown browser. Also, when you take midterm exam, final exam, or this first quiz, you also need to have a working web camera because there are some security procedures. The system will ask you to show your ID. So for example, your driver's license or your student ID. So you will show it like this into your web camera. Then the system will ask you to show around the room. So you will take your camera and you will show, your surrounding. Also, as you take the exam, the system will be on. The web camera will be taking a video of you. I don't watch this video. I don't do anything with those videos. Those videos are discarded. However, if I'm suspicious about something, I may look at the video to see how exactly you took the exam. Also, the system has some algorithm that detects something suspicious during exam. For example, if your face disappears, if somebody walks in the room, if there's any kind of change in scenery or any kind of sort of movements, it flags those moments and it sends me an email saying, hey, you need to look at the video at this particular time. So I kind of use it passively, but I do use it to ensure that nobody gets any unfair advantage in this course by doing something questionable. Although I'm sure that none of you is planning to do anything like that. So read, if you're not familiar with the software, read about it just to know what it's all about, what are the main features. And then when you take this first quiz devoted to this module, and this is what I have usually, at the end of every module, I have a quiz that tests you, I wouldn't say test, that forces you to revisit all of the material in the module. I'll talk more a little bit about it. So when you take this quiz, it will actually force you to have a lockdown browser. Now, some people get confused. They think that lockdown browser can be downloaded from somewhere. It doesn't work like that. If you don't have lockdown browser installed on your computer, you have to download it, but not by searching it in Google. When you click here, it will say something. It will give you an error message saying you need to have lockdown browser to take this quiz, and they will provide you a link that you need to use to download this lockdown browser. This link is associated with the license that Murray State University has, so you won't be able to download it like in any other way. It has to be done through Canvas. Okay. So do that. Please make sure you have a working web camera just to practice. The stakes here are not very high for those quizzes. Okay. Now the first quiz has a format that is identical to what you will see during the midterm and final exam. Again, this is for you to practice with the technology. Questions are fairly basic. I mean, if you watch this intro video that you're watching right now, if you go over the syllabus, if you go over all those materials, you should have no problems getting 22 out of 22, meaning 100 on this quiz. Okay, so again, this quiz is more about practicing the use of proctoring technology rather than trying to catch you off guard. And by the way, all of my quizzes are like that, with the exception of the first quiz. All of my quizzes are not meant to catch you off guard. I know students hate this very word quiz, because when somebody says quiz, it reminds them of that time in high school when they come to class unprepared, and then their instructor says, okay, now put all of your stuff away, take out a sheet of paper, we'll have a quiz. Okay, I think I hated it myself when I was a student. So my quizzes are not like that. Again, the only exception is this quiz, which is very strict. I guess it's timed. You have 20 minutes. You need to use anti-cheating software. After that, all quizzes are more laid back. So for example, if we take a look at chapter 1 quiz right here, they're more laid back. They're not timed. Okay, there is no anti-cheating software involved. You don't need to use lockdown browser. In fact, it can be an open book quiz. It's up to you how you take it. And you have 2 attempts for each quiz. So you take the quiz and it will show you which questions you got wrong, and you can take it second time to make sure you get those questions right. So those are like low stakes quizzes. It's more of a self-assessment tool for you to know what you know and what you don't know before the actual exam. Because the format of those quizzes is fairly identical to what you will see on the midterm and final exam. Nevertheless, there is a weight attached to those quizzes. In total, all those quizzes have a weight of 10%. So you need to keep up with those quizzes. You need to take them on time to make sure you know yourself, right? Before you take an actual exam that is very strict, that there is time, that has only one attempt. So my quizzes are not meant to catch you off guard. They're meant to force you to keep up with the course, to proceed through this course, and to devote enough time to this course. Okay, so read about the software, and then we have our first online discussions assignment. So this is something that is graded. There's a total of 15% attached to this assessment component. So when you click on one of those online discussions, it will give you a question. Okay. Typically, to get full credit for a particular discussion assignment, you need to do two things. You need to respond to the question, number one, and number two, you need to respond in a meaningful fashion to at least one of your peers. If you can respond to more than one peer, that's fine, but it has to be at least one peer, okay? Now, this is what I mean by meaningful. There needs to be some substance in your response. It's not enough to say, okay, I agree, or I like your comment. I mean, that's not substantive, right? Maybe give some polite criticism, maybe add something, maybe share something else in relation to your peer's response. So it has to be something meaningful. And if I find that your comments are very insightful, that if your answers and responses to your peers are very insightful, I might give you some extra credit. So if you put some extra effort in that, you may earn some extra credit. So here I'm asking you to do two things. First of all, introduce yourself. Tell us your name, where you're from, what is your major, whether you have any professional experience, whether you have any career aspirations, where you see yourself 5-10 years from now. Tell us about your hobbies, and also anything else that you feel other people need to know about you. And then just respond to other people's introductions. Now, your response can be shallow. This is like an exception from that rule, right? You can just say, hello, welcome to the course, or hello, nice to meet you, but just something that shows me that you've read other people's responses as well. Okay, so once you do it, if you do it it's kind of subjective, and I'm not going to defend myself. It's not something that is based on the formula, but if I feel like you did a decent job answering the question and responding to your peers, I'll give you maximum points. If you forget to respond to your peers, I'll give you half a point. Okay, max. If you wrote something that doesn't make any sense, that shows me that you're not familiar with the subject matter of the discussion, I'll give you 0 for that. Okay. Now, as the syllabus says, I will drop the lowest grade online discussion grade at the end of the semester, and I will also drop the lowest quiz grade, in case you miss something or you get lost. So you can have you can miss one quiz or one discussion question without any direct consequences to your final grade. So this is our online discussion assignment. I'm just asking you to introduce yourself, nothing beyond that. And then at the end, take this quiz. So this quiz is based on everything that is posted above it in the module, right? The syllabus, the intro video, and things like that. Again, make sure you have a working webcam. If you don't have Lockdown Browser installed, it will give you a link. It will give you an error, and it will point you to a link that you can use to download Lockdown Browser. So this is Introduction to the Course module. As you can see, it has to be completed during the first 2 days of the session. Okay. Now let's go to the second module. The second module is devoted to individual project. You will have to work alone. This is an individual project. You will have to compose a project management plan that kind of touches on all of the topics, all of the deliverables, all of the processes that we'll be covering throughout the semester. Now, the report, so what you will do at the end, you will submit a report, and some students also include a Microsoft project file that contains their network diagram and Gantt chart and work breakdown structure. So maybe 2 files in one zip folder. This project management plan is not due until the very end of the session, which is June 28th. However, I'm posting it here at the top because I want you to start working on your individual project from day one. In fact, I'm releasing my course, 10 days in advance. So I want you to start working even 10 days before the semester starts. And I'm giving you an opportunity for that. The reason for this is that this is the biggest grade component. 40% of your final grade is based on your individual project. So it's a very high stake integrative assignment. So that's why I want you to start working on it from day one, or even before day one, at day -10. Okay. So if you have questions about your individual project, post them here. The first thing I'm asking you to do, go over the instructions and template. So there's a template that you need to follow when composing your project management plan. And this template also contains instructions for each section. It kind of says, okay, this is what you might write about. By the way, those instructions are not carved in stone, meaning you can deviate a little bit from those instructions if you feel that it will improve the overall quality. For example, there's a big section on quality management that talks about a lot of things. There are many tools and ideas in relation to project management. You don't have to use all of them. I mean, if you use like one or two quality management processes in your plan, that should be fine. You don't have to write about everything. Okay, so this is for you. This is just some information for you to think about, to bounce off, right? Also, take a look at the rubric at the end when you submit your report. I will use exactly the same rubric to grade your report. So if you want to maximize your score, make sure you go through all of those items one by one. There are a total of 40 items. Some of those items are related to the content. Some of those items are related to formatting, like punctuation, grammar, and things like that. So this is how your grade will be calculated, and this rubric answers all of the questions as to how to get the maximum grade possible. Also, I'm asking you to study the effective writing handout. Since this is a written assignment, at least a portion of your individual project grade will be based on the quality of your writing. Now, this is not an English class, right? I'm not a native speaker myself. I'm sure I have a lot of problems with my grammar, with my punctuation. It comes down to this. Nobody's perfect, but if it gets to the point where I cannot understand what you're talking about because you're not using the correct punctuation or vocabulary or something like that, then it becomes something that is outside of English language, right? It's something that is related to the content. But nevertheless, to make sure that I can understand you well, I'm asking you to go over the effective writing handout, which is based on my book, which is called Mindful Written Communication. It will tell you like how to write in a way, how to approach formal business writing, how to communicate yourself in a very simple, clear, and concise way. So this is something that will definitely help you boost your grade for this project. So go over this handout and then take this quiz to show me that you understand what the handout says. And then hopefully you will go beyond just taking this quiz. You will actually practice all of those ideas, tips, and techniques contained in that handout. Also, this is not required, but it will save you a lot of time if you create your work breakdown structure, Gantt chart, and networking diagram using Microsoft Project software. It's something that is not very complicated. There are so many tutorials on Microsoft Project posted to YouTube. I think in 20 minutes you can watch like a 20-minute tutorial to get started with this software. It may look a bit intimidating first, but it will save you a lot of time, because once you create your work breakdown structure in Microsoft Project, once you list all of those items in your work breakdown structure and set their deadlines, then with one click of a button, it will generate a Gantt chart and a network diagram, something that we'll cover later in the course. Okay. Now, this is not required because you can generate a Gantt chart or a networking diagram using other software. Maybe you can even draw it in Excel or PowerPoint. It's up to you. But most people choose to use Microsoft Project. And this will save, not only it will familiarize yourself with what seems to be like one of the most commonly used software tools for project planning, it will also save you time in this class. It will take a lot of headache when it comes to creating the diagrams, drawing diagrams, and things like that. So that's something that is worthwhile doing. So if you want to download Microsoft Project for free using your Murray State University account and follow those instructions, you'll have to log in to Microsoft Azure area using your MSU account. You may have to reset your password. If you get stuck, if something's not working, please let me know. But when you write to me emails about that, or if you post, you can post your questions here. Make sure you give me like a screenshot so that I know exactly what happened, like what kind of error you're getting, and then I'll try to deal with that. If I cannot fix the problem, I will redirect you to our IT support. Maybe they will do something about it. Okay, but most people have no problems downloading the software. And this is optional, right? Although most people do it, and I think it's a good idea. Also, it's optional. There are no questions about it on the exam. You can look at one of the sample projects that was submitted by one of my students. I think it's a good report. It's not perfect. It's not ideal. It may have some errors and flaws, but roughly it gives you an idea of how your final deliverable should look like. That includes both the report itself and also the project management file. Again, to open this Microsoft Project file, you need to install the Microsoft Project software first. Okay. Now, after you go through all those materials, I'm asking you to do it very soon. Share your project management plan idea with me and everybody else. Okay. So make a post here and saying, okay, I'm thinking about doing creating a project management plan for the following organization. Let's say this organization is a local church, or can be any kind of organization, public, private, anything that you wish. So tell me two things. I'm planning to do it for this organization, and this is what the project is about. I'm open to all kinds of ideas. It's really up to you what you do. When people ask me like what constitutes a good idea for an individual project, I typically give them the following criteria. Number one, it has to be something manageable, something that is not too big, something that you can do within 1 month, because this is how long this session, the summer semester is, only 1 month. So it cannot be like something grand, something that requires months or years to wrap your brain about. Number one, it has to be something small. Number two, it has to be something related to technology, because this course is devoted to project management in IT, telecommunications context. It cannot be something related to, let's say, construction or farming, unless it's something related to technology in farming or technology in construction, right? So number two, it has to be related something to technology. And number three, it has, ideally it has to be something that's beneficial for your career, right? It would be great if you can use this opportunity to develop a project plan for your own work if you're currently employed. If you're not currently employed, maybe it will, you will create a plan for, for a particular application that you wish to implement once you find work. So something that will facilitate your professional development, right? So try not to do something that is completely unrelated to your personal or professional interest. So those are the three criteria that I give to people. And usually I stop ideas only if I feel like they're too big. I will ask people to narrow it down, or if I feel that they're not related to technology. For example, there was a student once, he wanted to do something in relation to air conditioning, and I don't know much about air conditioning. There was not much technology involved, so I told him to change that, and we kind of migrated from this idea of air conditioning to a smart office building, something that requires installation of telecommunications equipment, software databases, and things like that. So I'll help you brainstorm. I will respond to each of the students. Feel free to respond. Like if actually I'm requiring you, right, for all those online discussions, I'm requiring you to respond to your peers. So if you have like an interesting twist or an interesting idea or an interesting clarification that you want others to know about in relation to their idea, then post it right here, okay? And then at the very end of the semester, the deadline is June 28th, you will submit the actual report. If you have your Microsoft project file, then you will put your report and your Microsoft project file into one zip folder and submit it as one file, okay? So this is the the second module that you need to complete. So again, the reason I'm putting it at the very top, because I want you to get started from day one. I don't want you to wait until June 26th to start working. That will be too late, and if you don't get that 40%, unfortunately you will fail this course. And then just proceed through modules one at a time. So the next module that you will cover is chapter 1. So if you have any questions about chapter 1 material, then post your questions here. First of all, cover chapter 1. It's up to you how you cover it. I have slides. I have my lecture based on those slides posted to YouTube. Also, those chapters obviously come from the course textbook. That textbook is discussed in the syllabus, and I would like to clarify something. In the syllabus, I'm saying that I'm using 6th edition for all of my lectures. 6th edition is a bit outdated, and I'm doing it on purpose because the 6th edition, project management has not changed over the last 10 years that much, right? Of course, new technologies are there, but project management arguably has been the same since the time of ancient Egypt when they built pyramids, right? So the principles are the same. So that's why I don't feel like we need to have the most current version of the textbook. But my most important goal here is that with the 6th edition is cheap. You can buy a used copy on Amazon for like $5. So with delivery, it will be under $10 most of the time. Okay. 7th edition is also fine. 7th edition is not that different from 6th edition. With 7th edition, you have a bit more options. It will be a bit more expensive. I think you can buy a new book on Amazon for around $30, $50. I think you can buy an ebook through MSU Murray State Bookshop. Just go to their website. You can buy an ebook for like $30. So you have some options here. Do whatever works for you. I'm giving you several options and several channels for covering all this. And then after covering the chapter, I will typically ask you to do an activity which involves reading an article or watching a documentary, and then most of the discussions are based on those activities. So here I'm asking you to read like a very fundamental article on IT project management, failures, mistakes, and best practices. And then once you read this paper, typically all of the discussion, online discussion questions that are based on the material above. So once you read it, then you will share what you think. So based on your understanding of this article in chapter 1, what are the 3 most important critical success factors in project management? So you will list and briefly discuss them, and you will respond to your peers in a meaningful way. Okay, so that's chapter 1 module. Sometimes instead of an article, have a documentary or something else. But the format is the same. Cover the chapter, take the quiz based on the chapter, and then do some activity that involves reading or watching something and then participating in an online discussion. So all other modules, they're fairly the same. Towards the midterm exam, I will not have any online discussions because I want you to concentrate on studying chapters and preparing for the midterm exam. Then you will take the midterm exam on June 14th. After the exam, you will proceed through the rest of the chapters until you reach the very end of the course, where I'll ask you to take the final exam and also to submit your course evaluations. So that's it when it comes to the layout. Again, if you see some errors, if you see something is missing, please let me know. I would really appreciate that. I will try to fix it promptly. In fact, unfortunately, I have to use my students for quality assurance, but nevertheless, no matter how much time I spend, there's always something that is missing. I may do some changes, some adjustments here and there, like little tweaks in relation to deadlines, or maybe adding or removing something, but the course has been published in its entirety pretty much. Nothing is really missing. So everything that you need to complete this course is right here in front of you. So proceed one item at a time until you reach the very end. But of course, keep up with the deadlines as well. Now, at the very end of this intro video, I would like to talk about some tips, some suggestions on what it takes to complete this course and to complete it successfully, to get a good grade in this course, okay? So I'll start out by saying that there's no silver bullet, there's no shortcut. This course requires a lot of focus. You need to be focused on this course. You need to be following deadlines. It also requires a lot of work, not just work, but smart work. You need to be wise about how you spend your time, where you spend your time. So there's no shortcut to that, right? Now, unfortunately, as you probably know, summer semesters are very intense. You have to do a lot of work within a very short period of time. In our case, we're talking about something close to 30 days, a bit more than 30, like 40 days, because I'm releasing this course earlier. But still, it's a lot of intense work to be done. Basically, we're packing, we're packing a 16-week course into 4 or 5 weeks, right? So you need to work hard, okay? Now, one of the first suggestions that I've received when I was a student, a special graduate student, is something called time boxing. And again, it's not a silver bullet. Time boxing means it's not about boxing, fighting. It means that you need to allocate a box or a chunk of time for whatever you're doing, whether it's your dissertation or a particular course, okay? Now, I'm not going to bore you with all those details about credit hours and XSB requirements for graduate courses and things like that. I'll just tell you something like that, something that's very rough and approximate, but nevertheless something that will really do wonders for you if you follow that suggestion. I would say that this course will require approximately 6 hours to complete, okay, plus or minus, right? Maybe for some people it will be 40 hours, maybe for some people it will be 100 hours. I don't know, but I would say something along the lines of 60 hours, okay? So you need to put in, within the next 4 or 5 weeks, you need to put in around 60 hours of work. So how do you put those 60 hours of work? Well, not at once, right? You don't want to study for 60 hours straight, right? What you will do, you will allocate some time to this every day. So for example, if you want to study during weekdays and keep your weekends free for your family or other activities, then allocate approximately 3 hours per day, 5 times a week, okay? So it depends on your schedule, on what works best for you. So for example, if you're a morning person, maybe you can wake up, at 6 a.m. or earlier, and then work for 2 hours, then you go to work, then you come back from work, and you have dinner with your family, and then before you go to bed, you put another 1 hour, okay? So 5 times a week, that's 5 times. So if you do it 5 times a week, you have 5 working days, you multiply it by 3, it's 15. If you multiply it by 4, it's roughly 60 hours of work. Of course, if you do it now, if you start working now, you can put more than 60 hours, but something or maybe if you're more of a weekend person where you do things over the weekend, then To meet that 15 hours per week requirement, you'll have to put in, like, I don't know, between 5 and 8 hours every weekend, right? So maybe you'll wake up on Saturday morning, let's say at 6 a.m. if you're a morning person, and study until lunch, and then you will do the same on Sunday. But the key is time boxing. Whatever the time box is, whether it's 2 hours in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, or 6 hours on Saturday, 6 hours on Sunday, make sure you box your time. Make sure you create that time box, and you follow through. You make sure you're very disciplined about pursuing it. Okay. And just like Egyptian pyramids will build one building block at a time, time boxing will do wonders. 1 or 2 hours per day will do wonders in terms of getting everything done, getting a good grade, and also revealing you from stress. So don't wait until the last moment. And I'm here to support you, right? I mean, if you get stuck with something, don't waste your entire weekend thinking or struggling with something. Reach out for help, and I'll try to, I'll do my best to respond promptly and resolve your issues so that you don't spend too much time struggling. Of course, unfortunately, developing yourself, becoming better, a slightly better version of yourself does require some struggle, does require some stress, but it cannot be too much, right? So if you're struggling too much, if you're too overwhelmed, then please reach out for help, and I'm here to help and support you in any way I legally can. So thank you very much for watching this video. Allocate a time box for this course, whether it's every day or every weekend. It depends how it works for you. I'm sure you will do well. So I wish you best of luck with this course and everything else that you're doing over the summer. Thank you for watching.